and short glimpse into the life of what we do here in the kitchen, usually in the summer. We wanted to teach you today how to make baked oatmeal in your own home. It's one of the things that a lot of people, not everyone, if you don't like baked oatmeal, that's okay. I have no problem with you. But it is one of the things that a lot of people say that they love about camp is the baked oatmeal. Now, baked oatmeal rarely will be the same in your own home just because your ovens are different. We have a convection, you probably have a conventional oven, and so it will be just a little bit different. However, it can still be absolutely wonderfully delicious, and that's what we'd like to teach you today. So welcome here, and let's get started. So for our baked oatmeal today, we have our main ingredients and then also some additives that we want to put in. Just some delicious, tasty little morsels that give it a little extra spike in flavor. But for our main ingredients, we have our 3 cups of oats. We have our 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We have a 1/4 cup of sugar. We have 1 teaspoon of salt. For our wet ingredients, we have 2 eggs. We have 1/2 cup of oil, and we will be adding 1 cup of water to this measuring cup after we've whipped our eggs up. Today's additives we're putting in some dried peaches, some dried apples, and then when I put in apples in my baked oatmeal, I really like to add about 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon to this size. So those are all of our ingredients today. For additives, you can put in pretty much whatever you want. The recipe is going to be under the video, and we'll list some different things that you can put in if you'd like. Otherwise, just make it plain Jane, and it's going to be delicious. You can put everything you want on top. Okay, so I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I've gotten my baking pan. It is an 8x8 or a 9x9. A little bit more reasonable than our 12x18s, which we do in the summer. We usually do 3 of these a day, or at least 2, which is maybe a little bit big and excessive for what you're doing at home. So we've done an 8x8. I'm out of cooking spray, and so I've just put a little bit of oil in the bottom, and we're just going to spread that around so that our baked oatmeal doesn't get really sticky to the pan. Doesn't have to be perfect, but especially to get it on the bottom there. You'll be scooping it out. And so then we're going to begin putting the ingredients together. You can just throw everything into one bowl right at the very beginning. I like to make sure my eggs are whipped up a little bit so they spread out through the whole cake and you don't end up with like little goopy bits and parts of it. But we're going to start with our oatmeal, our baking powder, our 1/4 cup of sugar, and you can use brown sugar if you would like, and our 1 teaspoon of salt. And we're actually just going to mix that all together so that your baking powder and your salt and your sugar are really mixed in well with your oats. When you get a pocket of baking powder or salt every once in a while when something wasn't mixed properly, ugh. And then we're going to, so that's it, just really that fast. And then you're going to take your oil, and you can do your eggs or your oil first, it doesn't matter. I'm going to crack my eggs into my oil, making sure I don't end up with any eggshells in there. Woo, that one was close. And we'll put those in the compost later. And then I'm just going to whip those up into the oil. Just like that. And now, I know you can't see it very well, but we're sitting right at 1 cup of liquid, and we need to add 1 cup of water to that. I'm just going to put it right on top. Now we have our 2 cups of liquid. Oh, also, I'm going to put in my cinnamon, and we'll mix that around. And you can put your other fruit additives in right now as well. You can use raisins or craisins as well, or dried blueberries or currants. You can even add nuts if you really like nuts. Sometimes I add pumpkin seeds or coconut. You really can put in whatever you want. One of the tricks is to not put in so many things that you can't taste any flavors left anymore, that they're all just a big mixture. So we've mixed all our dry ingredients in there, including our additives. Now you just pour your wet ingredients in. I like to just use a rubber spatula because then I don't have to wash a wooden spoon. And then you just mix that all together really well, making sure everything is wet from the liquid. Stir it all up. We're almost there. Now the trick here with baked oatmeal is you really don't want to add extra liquid. For some reason, when you add extra liquid, you don't have to like measure with like a little, I don't know how you measure something exactly, but you don't want to add, even if it looks a little bit dry, you really don't want to add a lot of liquid. You just want to make sure that you measure the first liquid really well. Otherwise, your oatmeal doesn't set properly and it kind of stays gummy, which is actually just like not the texture we're going for. So now we've got it all mixed up and we are going to pour it into our pan. So our pre-oiled pan, we're just going to take it, we're going to use the rubber spatula, scrape it all into that pan. The more you can scrape out, the less mess you're going to have in your sink, because that's one of the things is if you're going to be baking, you should always make sure that it's okay with your parents or your parent or your guardians first. And if you've never baked or never used an oven, make sure you ask for instructions on how to do that, okay? And then also, cleanup is always a part of the job. So you just want to make sure that you get that all the way to the corners. If you can just shake your pan a little bit, that sets it really nicely. It's in the pan and we're just going to pop it in the oven. We're going to do our dishes. It's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes to cook in this size of a pan. And then we're going to do our dishes while we wait. We'll see how it comes out of the oven. Alrighty, so big oven, little pan. Like I said, usually we make them a lot bigger. Just slide that into the middle of your oven. Close the doors. Set your timer for 15 minutes. We'll check it at 15 minutes and we'll see if it's ready. Otherwise, we'll give it another 5 and I doubt we'll have to wait longer than that. Super easy, really quick. If you pre-measure your ingredients the night before, you can just pour it all together in the bowl in the morning, put it in the oven, and you have a delicious warm baked oatmeal to eat for breakfast with minimal amounts of work. You don't even have to get up that early. It's gonna be hot. So pull up the rack and we'll see what our baked oatmeal looks like. Look at that. Take a toothpick here real quick. Just stick it right in the middle of your pan. And if it comes out clean, it's ready. Also, the other way that you can check is, just give me one moment. Put on my oven mitts and I'll hold this closer to the camera. You can see it's got some of those cracks all over the top of it. And usually once it's cracking like that, it's gonna be done. But you just wanna make sure that that center is baked. So this is ready. We're gonna take it out, close our oven, and make sure we turn it off. Alrighty, well our baked oatmeal is ready. It's still hot. But you can cut it any size that you want in the end. Anybody can take whatever size they want. Just remember that baked oatmeal is really filling. So you want to start with a smaller portion and then take more if you're still hungry. You can serve it with pancake syrup, cinnamon sugar. I like to eat mine with just some brown sugar on top. And then if you really like cinnamon, sometimes you don't want to put cinnamon in your baked oatmeal. You could actually even just add some cinnamon without the sugar on top. And then you take some warm milk, you pour warm milk over it, and then you eat it and just delight in its deliciousness. And that, my friends, is baked oatmeal. It's very easy, very simple, very quick. Just remember that if you don't bake regularly, or if you're a child, you should ask your parents before you're making food and make sure that if you've never used an oven before, that you get an adult to help you or someone else who knows what they're doing. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for making baked oatmeal with me on this cold morning. One of my favorite things to do when it's snowing outside is to bake. So again, thanks for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you another time to see what else we make at Camp Sagatawa.